So with that in mind, we start with strength and muscle mass because that's what we care about at this age. Sarcopenia is a loss of muscle mass through aging. It's an inactivity thing. Most of it is not due to some sort of inbuilt genetic or phenotypic expression. Well, the phenotypic expression is you've been sitting on your ass, and that's why all the muscle went away, because that doesn't require much. Muscle is required for strength. A loss of muscle means loss of strength. And it's the only thing that's independently associated with functional ability in the elderly. To put it another way, what good is having an amazing heart if you can't get out of your chair? This is the ground in which every other function in your life arises from. And balance isn't a magical lump of wonder stuff here. You need muscle tissue and you need a sharp nervous system to enact those muscles in order to balance. And so when you lose muscle, the balance goes away as well. They're not separate things. They're part of the same spectrum. So to further drive this home with some science, this is going to be quite sciencey. You're going to see a lot of these references. I'm going to make it entertaining throughout. I'm going to put on my website the entire bibliography in case any of you are curious of what I'm referencing here. But in this particular 12-year study, doing nothing, these individuals between 55 and 65 lose 20 to 30% of their strength just being sedentary. And just a year of strength training increases strength by up to 29% in women and bone and mineral density in the hip and back. And if it does it in women, it's going to do it much better in men because we have a favorable hormone profile for this sort of thing. It doesn't mean women can't gain strength through muscle, clearly, but we do it even better. And if these individuals, through training, gain 28% and stop training, they will, this particular study, 12-week study, they gain 28% strength on average. If they stop training for 31 weeks, almost triple the amount of time they're training, they only lose half of what they gained. And so when you're talking about a program you can stick with over the course of your life, people get hung up on doing enough, doing enough, kind of a perfect program. The reality is that for your body, muscle is expensive, very expensive, and it's not going to slosh it off willy-nilly. Think about it like a corporation. If you train your muscle tissue, it becomes a highly paid VP. If you're sedentary, it's suddenly getting paid like a VP, but it's working like a mailroom intern. So your body will get rid of it. You have to make that muscle important to your body, and that's what keeps it on. And so over the course of a lifetime, here's how this might look. This is out of a book, Bending the Aging Curve by Joseph Signorelli. If you train over the course of your life, by the time you get to 90, you'll have roughly the amount of muscle of an untrained 50-year-old. And if you perform an intervention later in life, in middle age, you would still, at the age of 90, have the amount of muscle of an untrained 70-year-old. Again, those 20 years are way different than moving from the age of 20 to the age of 40, as far as functional ability is concerned. That is enormous. And they do this, they test this by pulling core samples of the quadricep muscles out of individuals' training and check they do some staining to determine fast twitch motor units. And what tends to happen over the course of time as you get older, you get this atrophy fibrosis where fast twitch muscle fibers that don't get used, the powerhouses, the biggest, strongest motor units, they revert irreversibly to connective tissue, and you can't get them back. So everything you need to be powerful to get you out of a chair, to move, to be quick, to climb a tree, to do whatever, it's not there, and you can't train to get it back. So that's why even if you train, you're still much worse off than someone who's been training their entire life because the demands to rebuild and turn over those fast twitch motor units are there, always. This is just a graph, right? And here's how it looks with MRI. So what you got here is a 40-year-old triathlete, slice MRI, look at that wonderful ham steak, and you compare it to the 70-year-old triathlete, also the exact same ham steak. In fact, he might be a little leaner if you look at the outline of the fat mass here. And then you compare that to a sedentary 74-year-old man. You just look at just how little bone mass he has, how there's all this intramuscular triglyceride going on, and these guys, it's very little. And so this was a survey study. These individuals said they trained 3 to 5 days a week. They didn't determine how they trained. Certainly not entirely with weights. But if you look at weight training studies, even late in life, what you'll see is that 12 weeks on 92-year-old men, in this case, 12 weeks of resistance training increased the cross-sectional area by about 44%. And that's in 92-year-olds. And that's in a controlled environment. If you do something that's only, say, a B on a scale of perfection of a routine, it's not everything you can do, but it fits with your schedule. You won't ever have to have the perfect routine later in life. It's sort of like investing. You're going to get this compound interest working for you over time so that you don't have to try and save for retirement at 60 because you screwed up all of your life by not doing what wasn't perfect but was pretty dang good.